Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend. Mine was pretty eventful, and I also managed to read this story. I literally just finished it about 5 minutes ago. Another one of those stories where quite a bit actually happens in this story. Shadows in the Moonlight. It starts with Conan fleeing from a lost battle and eventually encountering a runaway princess or noblewoman's daughter who he had sold into ownership of someone she could not abide. Well, so she was sold to an older noble who then traded her for favors, and the guy she ended up in the hands of, her name was Olivia, by the way. He was a scoundrel, and she ran away, and sure enough, she and Conan meet in the swamps, him just in time to save her from being dragged back to, whatever hell she was going to live through. She and Conan then take off on this little, I think they called it a painter. It's a small little boat, and in the Sea of Valais. How do you pronounce that? I want to make sure I get it right. Is the map even in this book? No, there's no map in this book. But you know the big sea, the Eastern Sea, is really just a big lake as far as I'm concerned. But in the lake, they come across an island, and hopefully a sanctuary to hide out while the heat dies down. Unfortunately, the island is partially inhabited by a mysterious creature that throws rocks at them and forces them eventually to take refuge in an ancient ruin filled with cast iron or strange metal figures of almost human shapes, but something about them is a little off because they're of an ancient race from the before times. And of course, during their sleep, the girl has nightmares of the excuse me, sorry about that. I felt it coming for a minute. Maybe you could tell. The iron, the statues come to life, and in the dream, she witnesses them kill a young blonde, strange human, who then is rescued by a deity that comes down and takes his corpse up to heaven, and curses the people that slayed him to become these cast statues, except when the moonlight beams in through the ruins, and of course she's terrified. They leave and find refuge up at the top of the island on a peak, only to see pirates arrive and storm the island. And Conan thinks, I'll meet with them and try to gain a safe passage off the island. Of course, he has to duel the pirate captain, and he slays him and declares himself captain of their ranks, but a jerk hits him with a sling stone, knocks him out. They tie him up, throw him in the ruins, get drunk, and brave little Olivia sneaks in and rescues Conan. And I'm going to leave the rest of the story without spoiling it. If you've read it, it's been a while. It's a damn near ancient story now. But if you've read it, you'll remember the ending. If not, I highly recommend you go check the story out. It was another one of the stories that was in the Savage Sword of Conan omnibus, which means it was one of the first 5-7 magazines of the Savage Sword of Conan line, which I'm almost done reading, and I'll give you an overview of that when I'm done. And then I'm also going to be reading either King Conan, the Marvel years, or the original comic book version, 1 through 25 or 6. I got both omnibuses ready to read. I'd like to know which ones you guys would prefer to hear first. I'm kind of anxious to read the King Conan stories, but I wouldn't mind reading either volume. Let me know in the comment section. We only had one person, put their opinion. That was Holy Diver, and he of course wanted to hear about the original comics, and with any luck I'll be able to finish both omnibuses by the end of the month, but I do want to try to get through this and the other 4 Gnome Press books before the end of the month for Cimmerian September. However, if I have to choose, I will read these first, get as many of these done, and then go into whichever of the other omnibuses you like. And then, of course, during what Doc affectionately is named Atlantean Autumn, which will be November, because obviously October is full of spooky stuff, and we don't want to not do that here. October's always been a big month for this channel. So that's what I've got for you today and throughout the rest of the week. I hope you guys have a great week. Lord knows we deserve it. We've been through hell and back in the last couple of weeks, but thankfully we have some of the greatest literature ever written by our man Robert E. Howard. I hope you guys have the opportunity to read something of his. I don't recommend the old Ace and Daw books. Find something more original if you can. If you need help guiding you towards something better than the old paperbacks that we're all familiar with, the ones I've been showing off, these are far better. Despite their age, they still hold up. And like I said, this story was about 50 pages, and all that happened from the swamp to the island and their harrowing escape. There's a lot going on in this story for just 50, 52, 57 pages, whatever it was. Let me know what you think, what you thought, what you're reading now. I'd love to hear from you guys, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.